The 15-Point Plan is part of the Win, Make, Give podcast network.
Welcome back to the 15-Point Plan podcast. My name is Ryan Gregg, and as always, I am here with my amazing co-host, Jacqueline Smith. Jacqueline, the mission of this plan and this podcast is simply, it's a system. It is a way to give you more energy and to reduce your stress. When you follow this plan, this 15-point plan, you're just going to have more energy. You're just going to have less stress. And overall, you're going to be in a better mood. And that's one of the things that we are going to talk about today is our mood and what that looks like and how to stay out of that funk, that end of the year funk that we can find ourselves in, right?
Absolutely. We were just on this call with Brendan Burchard right before this, and he talked about that too, about ending the year strong. And a lot of times we think about, at least for me, I think about ending the year strong. Like I've got to work harder and keep sprinting all the way through the finish line. And really, I think what I took away from that is just making sure that we're ending the year in a good mood, because he talked about how mood impacts almost everything. And, I'll even share transparently, I've been off of my routine. I think a lot of us have been, it's the holiday season. We're all off of our routine. And it's started to impact my mood. On top of that too, it's very dark here in the Pacific Northwest this time of year. It's hard to get outside before I have to get to the office a lot of days. And then by the time I'm finished, it's dark again. And so it's a tough time of year for me. And I tend to get into a funk this time of the year. And so what I realized yesterday was hey, I'm completely off of my routine, and I want to talk about all my mood stuff. I want to talk about my emotionality, and I want to talk about how I'm feeling. And luckily I have an awesome coach, and she kept bringing me back to the practical, even though it was legit pissing me off in the moment, because I'm I want to talk about my mood, how I'm feeling. I want to be all in my feelings, And she was let's first talk, we'll talk about that, but let's talk about practically, what has your mornings been looking like, Jacqueline? Yeah. Oh, well, what have my mornings been looking like? I've been snoozing. I've been not eating good things. I've been tired and skipping my workouts. I'm still getting some workouts in, but not the consistent level that I usually do, And then I want to talk about my feelings again. She's tell me about your nighttime routine. I was dang you, because that's when the morning starts, And so we talk about my nighttime routine and how that's been kind of off, just because we've had family and guests in the house. And so, yeah, I haven't been going to bed as early. I'm probably a little more wired. I'm watching too many Hallmark movies. And so that bleeds over to my morning, And so then lo and behold, my habits have changed. It's not a coincidence that my mood has changed. Right?
It's so true. It's so true. And I love how your coach didn't tell you what to do. They asked you what you're doing, as a good coach would. So if you're in the business world or you're talking with your kids, or, nobody wants to be told what to do. But when a good coach asks us what we've been doing and we tell them, or we tell ourselves, oh yeah, shocker, no wonder I feel all that great. It's interesting, Jacqueline, you say that stuff. And I was very similar. I had family in town. We were out later than normal. We were eating more than normal. And as you say that, and I didn't really realize this till you said it, but it almost makes me think at some points in our life and in this process, is it okay for us? Because I should be getting quadruple the gratitude points because I have family in town, because I stayed up later, because I have family in town, because I have family in town, we shared more meals together. Mm. So maybe that's okay. And I think that if we're intentional with staying up later, with eating more, remember our coach that we had, Shannon Cheplack, She
Mhm.
said we don't have cheat days. We don't have cheat days. We have
Mhm.
high calorie days.
Yeah.
Okay, well, like we go into these holidays knowing I'm going to have a high calorie day, and I'm doing it with family that is only here, let's say 2, 3 times out of the year.
Mhm.
All right, that's okay. I love how you said like I was approaching 2 weeks. Well, a 2 week funk or rut is actually in the big picture of life, just like this snap of a finger. It's a very
Mhm.
quick time, and you snapped out of it because you have the tools and techniques. And I like how Brendan was saying on the call, our mood is really driven by an acronym he created, which I don't love the acronym, Jacqueline, because I don't want my mood to be driven by S.A.D.S. So it's like S.A.D.S is the acronym. So maybe we should call Brendan and say, hey, dude, can you give us an acronym that's more like GLAD
Yeah.
something? But the acronym for your mood, S.A.D.S, S-A-D-S, is sleep, activity, diet, and stress. And just like you said, your coach first off was like, well, what have you been doing? What have you been eating? How have you
Mhm.
been sleeping? What's your activity level been like? And if we go through that inventory checklist and we realize, you know what, like I stayed up late these last couple of nights, I didn't eat all that great, and I haven't really moved my body very much. Shocker, you're probably not going to feel great, and you're just going to not have energy. And when you don't have energy, your mood's going to crash, right?
Yeah. I think, the S.A.D.S thing is kind of good because it's like if you start feeling sad all the time, like then maybe look at sleep, activity, diet, and stress,
True.
So it's kind of like a good reminder. And yeah, he talked about how like our mood impacts our, our behavior. And then our behavior impacts our results, and then our results impact our confidence levels. And so everything really starts with that mood. And so why not take the steps that you can control, because there's so much in life that we can't control. So, but he said it so well. He's like, we can actually control our mood. Like we really have a lot of control over that. I don't have control over the weather. I don't have control over like daylight savings. I don't have control over the traffic. I don't have control over like all these other the market and real estate, all these things, but I have control over my mood because I have control over my habits. And so, yeah, it's not about being perfect. It's not about that. It's about, okay, I can have high calorie days. I can have nights where I don't sleep well. I can have days where I eat, whatever. And I just can't have like 2 weeks in a row of that. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, that's just like it starts to impact me. And I think that's the beauty of the 15-point plan is that and I tell this to the people that I know that do it all the time. Like, this is not meant to be another thing that you have to do that's supposed to like add more stress and another thing on your to-do list. This is supposed to be a mirror so that you maintain awareness of how your habits are impacting your mood so you don't go 3 months before you catch it. I was on day 2 of week 2. I didn't go even 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, thankfully I have my coach. Otherwise I probably would have went full 2 weeks. But
Yeah, right.
you've got to realize that you have to have a system for identifying, being aware of, and being conscious of your habits and your mood in your life. Otherwise you will spin out and waste time. And I think too, what you do is you end up projecting it onto the things and the people around you, and you end up causing more problems because you're unaware of how you're showing up and how it's impacting your world.
It's a really dangerous cycle to be in when you're not feeling well, when you're in a bad mood, then you don't eat well, then you don't drink the water you should be, then you don't sleep well, then you just get angry and grumpy, and then you're just no fun to be around. And then you maybe say something and you get frustrated. But, like I think what I'm hearing you say is having awareness, like looking at yourself in the mirror and saying, gosh, like I'm really not in the best mood right now, and then doing something about it. And I think the first thing to do about it is Like find a win, find some
Mhm.
activity. If you can't go to the gym and get an hour workout in, well, you can probably go for a walk. Like take a walk around the block. Like find something that gives you joy. Find your hobby. If you're in a bad mood, like what's that thing? What's on the 15-point plan? What's the thing that you could just go do that's a hobby that's going to put you into a good mood? Like go work in your garden or go play your violin or go sew something or look at the next point on the plan of service. Like
Mhm.
you're in a bad mood, like go volunteer for an hour. You'll probably get into a better mood. So find a win, find some momentum. And
Mhm.
Jacqueline, it's like to me, it's become very apparent that everybody has emotions. Like we all have emotions, and it's completely okay to get mad or grumpy or angry. But it's really a choice to stay in those emotions, isn't it?
Absolutely. I I can't remember who said this or if it's in a maybe it's just a famous quote, but the idea of like you can't always control your first thought, but you can control your second thought. You can't always control every thought that comes into your mind, but you can control how you react and respond to it.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, I was telling you, I got to be on a call yesterday with our operations leader. There was about 300 people, and it was just so cool to be in a group like that. And we did this very brief, just breathing exercise. And one of the things that a lot of them took away from it was, you know, you don't always need to respond right away. It's okay to take a breath first and then respond. You don't have to respond right away. And if we respond quickly, it's often out of that little bit of frustration or anger. So
mhm,
it is okay to slow down. It is okay to not react and to
yeah,
slow down and to work your way out of that emotion before we respond, before we come up with something that maybe we would regret saying later.
yeah. Have a snack first.
Have a snack first. Say, you know what? That is a really good question. And I would love to talk about that. Let me get some water.
Yeah,
Let me make us some tea and we'll continue this conversation.
that's good. That's actually really good.
And I
I
think it's
think
okay, yeah, it's okay to say, you know what, like that is a really good question, but I don't know the answer right now. Can I
yeah,
have a moment to think on that?
yeah, create some space. Um, so as we near the end of this year, I think about a few things that he said, in the call to ask. Like he said, instead of waiting for January, look now at what's the next level of value I'm going to bring. And he said, look at like where were you in 2025? Where do you need to be in 2026? Like what skills do you need? What do you need? Maybe it's more consistency. Maybe you need to stop being like to your point so reactive and then start studying those skills. So if it's that you do need to have less reactive energy, then what books could you read? What podcasts could you be listening to that would help create more emotional regulation? Um, and funny enough, I found for myself when I'm really on with the 15-point plan, I handle things way better. Like I'm a better mom, I'm a better wife, I'm a better leader, I'm a better realtor, business owner. And so where do you need to level up? What do you need to focus on learning or growing in? And why can't you start that now instead of in January?
And it's a really great time to start those things. If you're in a business that quote slows down for a little bit, well, now is a great learning time. You've got
Mhm.
time before the holidays, you've got time during the holidays, or on those. If you're in the Pacific Northwest like we are, and it's freaking dark at 3:45 in the afternoon, and you're home at 6 o'clock, thinking, "Oh my gosh, I could go to bed." Like, yeah, you could, and listen to a book for a half hour, 45 minutes, or a little bit more time. Because we know the summertime's not too far around the corner, hopefully. And I'm going to want to be out till 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock because it's going to be nice and sunny. So now is a great time to really ask yourself, where do I need to develop myself? And can
Yeah.
I spend some extra time developing myself so when the seasons change, I'm really ready to become that next level of person that I want to be?
Yeah. So I think the core theme was essentially finish the year well, because that does drive the identity that you carry into 2026. You're either going to carry the identity of someone that breaks promises with yourself, someone that's inconsistent, someone that doesn't follow through, or you're going to go into 2026 as someone who is consistent, who is grounded, right? Who is leveling up. And I think if you had a tough year this year, how you finish, is going to determine how you start 2026. And so finish well, protect your mood, decide who you're going to be and be that today. Don't wait until January 1st to be that. Because if you do, I guarantee you, whenever I've done that in the past, I spend the rest of the year, the short time that we have left, by the time people are listening to this, I spend it breaking my consistency, breaking my promises, not being the person that I even have been this year. I almost go backwards if I'm so focused on I'm going to start in January. It's bad if I do that. it's not good for anybody. And so let's start that now, even if it's the last week of the year. Let's have an awesome last week. What can you do in that week to finish in a way that you feel really proud of yourself?
I think that is a great question to leave our listeners with, Jacqueline. What can you do? What can we do right now? Dang it. Let's not wait till January 1 or wait till the next temporal landmark, as they call it. What can we do right now to find that win? Where is the win in our life so that we can start to build momentum and we can start to keep our way out of that funk? Whether it's the end of the year or the beginning of the year, or if you're listening to this podcast and it's the middle of the year, what can be done right now? So grab that 15-point plan at winmakegive.com. Check off one of those items that's going to make you feel good and give you some energy. And then go grab a friend. Go for a walk with a friend. Talk with a friend. Laugh with a friend. And next thing you know, in a couple of days, your energy is going to go up. Your stress is going to go down. And we're going to keep on that winning streak, right? Don't forget to follow Jacqueline and myself on social media, Jacqueline Ray Smith and Ryan Park Gregg. Until next time, everybody, we thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye, everyone.